I mean, the biggest question with Code Geass is where did he get the costume from? Did he make that?
I love a rainy night. You know, it's
Mari Krombu Weaves. My name is Cole. His name is Mike. His name is Jay. We like anime, and this is episode 130 of AniPro. Holy moly! Wow,
ain't that something?
Ain't that something? And on today's episode, we're doing part 2 of our best in class, best genre, best show in each genre. So we're gonna do that in the second half. I'm not even teasing it this time. That's what we're doing.
I like it. He's adapting, he's learning, he's improvising, he's overcoming.
Exactly. We're going to discuss news in the first half.
He's like RoboCop. He learns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's actually kind of scary that he's learning.
Yeah.
Now. What's next?
Yeah, clever girl.
Cole, the Taskmaster.
Cole, you're the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park.
I'm the Velociraptors from Jurassic Park.
Just like a Bond villain mask.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey.
We're talking about rainy nights.
We were talking about rainy nights.
Right.
I made sure to come in when Mike was singing. That's key.
Right.
Yeah, well, Cole likes to come in when we look like idiots.
That's his whole thing. Yeah, make himself look better by association.
Exactly.
I just look like an asshole. That's all.
Well, the listeners don't see into the mind of a Cole, though. They don't know this.
Yeah, they don't. They don't.
I'll never
the inner
forget.
machinations of his mind
let's go
are
into
an
a
enigma.
mind of a Cole. And
The inner machinations of your mind are an enigma. It's just a carton of milk spilling.
Mm-hmm. That's me.
Yeah,
I am the
repeatedly.
Milk.
I am the milk. I am the one who milks.
Rainy days. It's
Yeah,
very rainy here
days.
in our city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting torrential downpours. We're getting apocalyptic amount of rain.
Now, since Cole's talking about the apocalyptic amount of Wayne that we are getting,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look up a quick conversion because I actually don't know what this is. Oh, I do know what this is. We're getting about 2 inches of rain.
What, 60 millimeters?
50 centimeters? 5 centimeters? 2.54 centimeters per inch?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
2.5
That's
inches.
actually surprisingly easy conversion. Yeah.
I'm thinking of a ruler, right? I don't know if they do this in the States. American listeners, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, tell us about your rulers.
Tell us about your rulers. On our rulers, it shows centimeters on one side, and then we've got inches on the other. So I'm thinking like, okay, 2.5 centimeters. It's about.
I feel like it would be the same. They just use the inch side because the rest of the world uses centimeters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, maybe it's for them. Maybe we put the inches on there for them, and not the other way
absolutely
around.
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jay.
And they do it.
You're right.
They do it for us because
we
they're
love each
unlike
other.
the rest of the world.
I personally believe that we're just accommodating them. Really, is what it is. Well, the rest of the world's just like, okay, you want to use your silly little made up number system? Yeah. That's fine. We'll use the real scientific one.
They are effectively paying us to accommodate them. So,
exactly.
Yeah, we'll do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
How about you boys? What's new in the land of a Michael?
Oh, throwing it to me again. Hey, honestly, not a heck of a lot. Just kind of gearing up to go on a little voyage to Banff, Canada. So that'll be fun.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's where you're going.
I've been there
for
before.
A whole week.
Have you?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
I've never been. I've never been to the mountains before.
Yeah. My dad and I took a road trip to the valley in BC, and we took a night stop in Banff on the way. It was really nice. Very.
Oh, so you did the full drive through the mountains?
Yeah.
I hear that's a cool drive, but I hear it's also a bit of like a bit harrowing at times.
A little bit, but like honestly, once you're on the road and like you're there, it doesn't feel as bad as it sounds.
Here's the thing too. We are in Canada. Like we're in a very developed nation. They won't make the roads too dangerous.
No.
You know?
You can also see Alberta, like the Albertan mountains from where we are.
Where
I'm making a prairie joke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're in the prairies. It's flat, literally flat all around.
we can see for miles and miles.
Which is like and listener, if you're a flat earther, I'm going to tell you something right now. It's so flat where we are that you can literally, if you're in a big enough field, you can see the curvature of the earth.
Yeah.
Just by looking. It's right there. Yeah.
It's a beautiful country. It's wonderful. Ooh-wee. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I like it. I like where we are.
Yeah, no, I like where we are too. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Banff, Canada, though, beautiful place from what I can tell.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited to go there. Excited to check it out.
Hot takes from you guys this week.
Hot takes from Mike.
It should be kind of a down season for it too, I think, because like who goes to a snowboard resort in springtime?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Probably. I don't think there is very much of a down season in Banff, though.
I don't think so either.
Are you just
there's always something to do? It's a tourist like hotspot.
Are you staying in that fancy hotel?
Which one's the fancy hotel?
Guys, quick, stall for me while I look it up.
I'm going for a work thing, and most of my stay will be at not a super fancy hotel, but I think most of them there are quite fancy. Is it called the Malcolm, Cole? Is that the one you're thinking of?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. It's the Fairmont Chateau, Lake Louise.
Oh, Fairmont.
If you ever watch
Fairmont.
If you ever watch the Briar, the big Canadian curling championship, they always play it there, and they always show that hotel. It's one of those big chateau-esque hotels. But if you're not staying there, then whatever. I guess you may as well just go find a cave to stay in.
There are some very sketchy places to stay out there, to be honest with you. I'm going to look at what the price is for this chateau. And that's actually Lake Louise. That's not Banff.
I remember when I was walking through Banff with my dad, the like main street reminded me of like an old Western. Like it's like one street and you've got like and you've got
kitschy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pictures I've seen kind of fit that vibe.
Yeah.
Sure.
It just feels like an old Western town. With like one street and all the buildings are on either side. Great place to duel at high noon.
Yeah, there's guys walking around with like stirrups and chaps.
That's what me and Shazana are gonna do. By the way, the hotel I was looking to stay at, because we just stay one night at just a random hotel, I thought it was quite expensive at, I think it's like $350 a night. Canadian dollars, by the way. Don't you know?
So it's about like $5 American.
It's about $5 American.
Like 40.
The hotel Cole has suggested to me it starts at about $1,200 per night. And nice. Honestly, like the room is hotel. Not that much nicer than the $300 a night one.
I think
how nice can a hotel room be? Really?
How nice can a hotel room be? To be honest, the hotel room that I stay in for Icon every year is probably as nice as a hotel room.
Yeah,
specifically.
Delta puts up a lovely hotel.
Yeah,
I agree.
These ones, like the Fairmont in Banff, was built in like the 30s by CP because they were building railroads all across the country. So like, it's a nice hotel, but like the rooms are all small because that's just the way they were built at the time.
I suspect it's expensive because it's on Lake Louise and you can see the lake from your hotel. And there's
a prestige thing.
Literally there's no other option to do that. Probably
you're staying in this like historic building. It's like that one in Quebec City too. I think it's another Fairmont. Kind of looks similar.
I don't know. CP is Canadian Pacific Rail, by the way.
I mean, it's only one of the 7 biggest railroads in North America.
Yeah, there's no chance they know that, Cole.
Hey, maybe we got some train enthusiasts.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's probably a pretty good overlap between train enthusiasts and anime. Speaking of train enthusiasts, Jay, what's on your mind?
Sadness. It's a sad day to be me.
Oh, because it's Friday?
It's Friday, and it's the final week for Book 11 of the beginning after the end.
Bum, bum, bum.
So now I have...
I saw you.
So now I have I have a 6-week hiatus to.
What will you do for the 35 minutes it takes you to read that chapter every week?
Yeah. How will? Hey, you could read Berserk.
I could. But here's the thing: I just got a new game.
Oh.
And so I'm probably going to be playing that in that time.
Yahtzee?
Yes, actually,
Solitaire?
I got Yahtzee for
you got a deck of cards.
I do have a deck
better
of cards.
choice.
But yeah, no, I got Yahtzee for the PS5.
The graphics are amazing. You got a
The
PS5?
graphics are out of this world.
You got
No,
a PS5?
No.
When did you get a PS5?
In my dreams last night.
Jay has a Xbox 360 still, I believe. And doesn't that come preloaded with Yahtzee? Like, unironically, I'm pretty sure it does.
My 360.
No, I have the oldest
red-ringed.
Xbox known to man. It doesn't have Yahtzee.
I had the Halo 3 bundle, Xbox 360, and it red ringed, which is why I got a PS3.
Classic.
Yep. Hey man, that's why I'm a PlayStation stan.
Yeah.
That red ring chased me away.
Yep. Which is funny because the second version of the Xbox 360 is apparently like the best console from that generation.
Hey man, they can do whatever they want. They could literally send me a device that sucks my own explicit.
Yeah.
But I'm a Sony guy now because of that red ring. And no matter what they do, it's not gonna do it.
I'm kind of a Nintendo guy now.
I feel like you are, of the three of us, by far the most like brand loyal. Like,
yeah.
Like they could, like you said, they literally, he pulls his sleeve up and shows his Sony tattoo. Like they could literally sell you a PS5 and you open it up and there's a piece of dog poop in there and you'd be like,
what a beautiful box. What a beautiful box this came in.
Jay's Mr. Nintendo.
I should correct myself though, just going back to our previous segment. They're no longer called Canadian Pacific Railroad. They're actually called Canadian Pacific Kansas City Railroad.
Yeah, thank you. The listeners were surely dying for that clarification.
Hey man, when I see a mistake that I've made, I hold myself accountable. Unless it's a mistake that I'm not fixated on, then we can move on.
It all matters on whether you care or not.
It matters until it doesn't.
Exactly.
It either matters or it doesn't. Okay.
Exactly. And it's all up here, baby.
It's all a mind game you play with yourself.
He plays
solitaire.
He plays solitaire with whether or not something matters.
And I love solitaire. I adore it. It's a wonderful game.
I've never been a solitaire guy.
No, I like it.
Solitaire.
But Jay's playing a game.
I am playing.
Yeah. What game? What game did you get?
So, as some of you might know, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door came out on Switch, and I just got it, and I haven't been able to play it yet. But by the time this comes out,
we got to record an episode.
No.
AniPro.
I'm happy to do this.
Yeah,
because now I can say that if I had started, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
True. You would die.
You
would be dead.
I loved the original back on GameCube when I was a kid. Such a good game. And I never beat it because I got stuck on the second to last chapter.
Had to return it to Blockbuster.
Carkland's Corner.
That's a little niche. It's a little niche, Mike.
Google it. It won't come up.
I think I got my copy of Thousand Year Door from Walmart when I was, or maybe EB Games. I think it was EB Games.
EB Games, still around at the time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I played that. Such a good game. Got stuck. Got very annoyed. So I stopped playing it. Now I finally have it again. So now I can play it, and this time for realsies beat it.
This time you'll do it.
This time I'll do it.
I like it.
Mike just reminded me of something about renting games. Remember when you used to have to rent games, Jay? Are you old enough to remember this?
Oh, yeah.
I rented the original Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 2. And I rented it for the week. And I think I kept it for about 6 months. And I don't know, I slipped through the cracks or something like that. But after the 6 months, I returned it. No late fees, nothing like that. And I kicked myself. I should have just kept the game. What a fool. Yeah. What a fool I was.
It's funny you mentioned that. Up here in Canada, we had a thing called Rogers Video, which was basically like the Rogers equivalent.
This is
to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And I would get movies all the time from there. Like I'd get 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'd get Kirby Right Back at Ya. I'd get Pokemon and all that. And some of them I didn't return. And
As
now Roger's video is closed and has been for years. And they're still sitting on my shelf. Haven't been returned.
What are they going to do?
What are they
going to do now?
Yeah, charge me a late
now
fee?
that it's public knowledge, they're going to get you, Jay.
They can try. They've been bankrupt for years. I don't think me paying that like $5 fine is
well,
gonna...
no wonder they went bankrupt with people like you out there.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
Rogers is going to send your hero, Connor McDavid, to your house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna come and collect because he's an employee of Rogers.
Probably
Rogers.
is.
Yeah.
Rogers, proud owner of the Edmonton Oilers, I think.
Speaking of being a proud owner, Cole, you are the proud owner of having something on your mind. What is that?
Vaguely. Man,
Sometimes.
I have been obsessed with Atarashii Gakko.
Oh God, yes! You posted them the other day. You finally
I love
discovered
them.
The explicit beauty.
I love them. They're so much fun.
Them?
I love them.
Yeah.
I would travel to the ends of the earth to see them. Unfortunately, they're coming nowhere near the ends of the earth. I think the closest they're coming is Toronto and Vancouver to us.
Standard J-pop destinations.
Yeah.
Not even coming to our biggest American city that's close to us, which I will leave vague.
Yeah, Chicago.
I'm not sure. Sure. The other one, though.
Almost always they'll come to Chicago.
Or the Twin Cities.
The Twin Cities less so.
I don't know.
But yeah.
Minneapolis is pretty big.
Like venue. I'm looking at a band called G Idol. They're a K-pop group. And they're coming to Chicago and like Los Angeles and San Antonio or something like that. And that's it.
Yeah. No.
But anyway, Atarashii Gakko. Yes.
I love
incredible band. Who is your best girl? I must know.
Suzuka. For sure.
Okay, that's the correct answer. Yeah, the front lady there. Yeah. She's so like magnetic. It's insane.
Yeah. She's so like, I don't know. She's got like some kind of, all of them do. Like their energy is just like unbelievable compared to like other groups that you see. Yeah, they're great. I think more people should listen to them. Go watch their performance on Jimmy Kimmel. I think they did. It's great.
They're at Coachella too. I watched their performance at Coachella. Very good.
They were at Coachella.
Yeah. Just the energy is ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much been it. That's all I've been doing. I'm caught up on Berserk now, so there's nothing there now.
What else is left in life now that you're caught up?
What else is left?
Is the wait for more chapters there? Do you have that hole in your heart?
Well, I'm definitely waiting. There's definitely a hole in my heart. But like I haven't waited as long as other people have. Like maybe when I get to month 4 or 5 where I'm like, come on, let's go. The thinking is that the next chapter won't come out till like December or something like that.
Yeah, that's why I'm like never in a huge rush to like actually get fully caught up on stuff. Because I'm the type of person that like I binge read more than I do just read weekly. And when I read weekly, I feel like I don't absorb it as much. I don't know what it is. I don't like it, and it doesn't hit as hard when I'm reading just like when it's just constantly broken up by these little pauses.
Yeah, I mean the argument for what you're saying would be like it's not difficult to like get yourself back into that mood of that specific manga, but it's a lot easier when you're binging it.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas if you have to wait a week, it's like, okay, I got to get myself back into the, I don't know, Nagatoro vibe. That's one that I read whenever the chapters come out.
Yeah.
See,
I feel like Nagatoro is probably, it depends on the thing. Like
it was just the first thing that came to mind.
It does depend on the thing, but at the same time, like if I were to binge something from start to finish, I'd eventually be like, man, now I'm out of that thing that I've been enjoying for a long time.
Yeah.
Whereas like that weekly thing, you always have that feeling of like, oh, I have more stuff on the way.
True.
Yes, the classic One Piece argument.
Yeah.
But it will end eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah. It will end eventually. And if you've invested years versus a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the counter.
So what we're learning is that Jay, when it comes to manga, he likes to edge. He likes it to last years.
Mike and I, gooners.
Just straight to completion.
Like I read a novel recently And it was completed, and I finished it, and I was like, man, I have none of it left. That was really good. I want more. There's never going to be any more.
Yeah,
Never.
I get that vibe. If it's like a really, really good one. But oftentimes I'm more just excited to go on, oh, what am I going to check out next? Is usually my first.
There's a balance.
Reaction.
It's a little bit of both. I think I'm somewhere between, where it's like, because you'll never, like, the other thing is like, oh, I'm looking for specifically X. You're never going to find that again.
Yeah.
You're
never going to
find
the central quintuplets,
and that's
right.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I like that that prolonged feeling, because then it lasts longer.
Yeah.
That edge, if you will.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're learning things about each other today.
Things about Jay, yeah.
Okay. That's enough. It's enough. Yeah. That's enough fun time joking. Now we've got to be serious anchors. Okay. You guys ready? Okay.
Live from AniPro Studios, the news.
Camera slowly zooms in on us. Good evening. Welcome to whatever this is.
The news. Welcome
to the nightly news with
AniPro.
Hey, I've got a collar on. You guys are very underdressed.
I have a very classy shirt on. What are you talking about?
Your shirt looks very angry.
I'm just wearing
black. That's how I feel
black
inside when I record. Yeah, it's the news. We don't do this very often, but I think Jay should lead with his last story, because we were just talking about things that just never end and how they continue for decades. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Jay, with the top story.
Sure. Take it away. I guess top story of the period of the period is that Hideaki Anno says that there might be more Evangelion on the way.
Interesting.
I feel like there was like a whole end of Evangelion before.
So if you look more into it, he's basically saying like he'd be up to seeing other creators make stuff that are a part of this universe, and expand upon it rather than like just his sole input on it. Because I think because he was basically saying like, I'm done, but I wouldn't be opposed to other people taking a shot at this world.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. I would be concerned if he was pulling. I hate to do this to my boy, but I have a tendency of comparing Hideaki Anno to George Lucas.
Yes.
They like George Lucas is kind of one of those guys who like says he makes stuff up and then he says this was the plan all along. Like, I'm not convinced that when he made Star Wars, he was like, I'm going to make 6 movies about this guy.
No chance. No shot.
No way. He's
I don't think he
was
planning a trilogy. I think
I think he was planning a trilogy, but I don't think that there was like episode 1, 2, 3.
The prequels didn't exist. There's no shot. There's no way he was like midi-chlorians are the reason while he was writing the
right. Yeah. I based on like everything I know about Star Wars, I do think you might be onto something, Jay. Anyway, regardless, I would be more hesitant if Hideaki Anno said I'm considering making more Evangelion, because I feel like the 4th Rebuild movie ended it nicely, left a nice bow. I felt satisfied at the end of it, and I wasn't craving more. I felt good. If people come in and they make, I don't know, side stories or something along those lines that take place in that universe, like different wings of nerve, depending on which version you're watching.
That could be cool. Like like an episodic like anime just with like basically nerve dealing with like whatever the hell they deal with, other than
it's like a globe.
There's so many things it could go into.
Like it's a global organization. You could go to like the Australian branch of Nerve and see what they're up to.
It's a whole nervous system.
It's a whole nervous system.
Nicely
Speaking
done.
of nervous system, how are you guys doing? I'm nervous.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
he's always nervous.
I'm sorry.
One thing in your article here, Jay, that I do like, that kind of gave me a bit of hope here in a weird way, is that he does say that he is, quote, thoroughly exhausted from doing Thrice Upon a Time, then Ultraman, and then Kamen Rider. And he said, quote, I think I'm okay with not directing anything for a while. So it sounds like this is not like, if someone basically, it sounds like, asked him, hey, could there be more Evangelion? He's like, sure.
Yeah.
Not me.
Sure. Whatever. Let me go to sleep.
I'm tired, boss.
I'm tired.
But yeah, no, I think like the interesting thing is the idea of another person taking the reins of this.
Yeah. And that makes people clutch their petticoats a little bit when they hear, oh, someone else is going to get their hands on the classic beloved franchise, Evangelion.
Yeah. But franchises become so big that they belong to the world.
Yeah.
So. But need I remind you, Cole, to bring it back to Star Wars episodes 7 through 9?
Yeah,
talk about trilogies that had no plan.
That's the problem with it.
Yeah.
It was too committee-ish. This is an argument.
Lucas.
This is an argument, against what we're saying, because like I love George Lucas. Okay. George Lucas is like, he's in he's on my pedestal. If I have a little
he's on your Mount Rushmore.
I
agree with you though. He's prone to a bit of wankery from time to time.
He's a very good big picture guy. Like, of course, he invented Star Wars. He was integral to the invention of like Indiana Jones. But he was very good at like bringing people together to build stuff. He wasn't a very good writer. He wasn't an amazing director. But at least they had the singular vision, whereas the sequel trilogy to Star Wars did not have that.
Well, they did, and then they just kept changed direct. They had it, and then they just kept messing with it, and it just became wrong. Incorrect. But
I feel like if the three directors got into a room and planned out the three movies instead of like started a story and then passed it off and said, I'm done. Good luck.
Yeah.
And the other issue is they responded to their critics and changed their plan based on reaction. And that is what ultimately caused it to be really, really messy and kind of pointless.
Yeah. They don't exist. They're
they're
honestly,
like, I've come full circle on them. I don't like them.
Yep. But Mike, what do you like?
Hi.
Is that a segue? Is that a segue to your first story? Sure.
Yeah. I'm going to go with my quote. It was a financial success. Chainsaw Man producer, MAPPA, reveals that anime's major impact on MAPPA's future. Guy, I read that. I think I butchered that title. But anyway, basically this guy, Makoto Kimura, he was formerly an executive at MAPPA. And he kind of just basically is talking about how the way that they approached Chainsaw Man, which not everybody knows, was drastically different than how most anime are made. Generally, he explains that like a TV studio, say like CBS in Japan or whatever, will approach the studio MAPPA, and say, okay, we want to make Blue Box, or we want to make Chainsaw Man. Just you make it for us, we'll contract you. And then they own the rights to basically the entire thing, and all that MAPPA would get money on is like DVD sales, basically, and whatever deal they negotiate up front. Whereas with Chainsaw Man, MAPPA actually owns the whole thing. They funded it themselves, and that's part of why I think they went so hard on like having different OPs or different EDs for every episode and stuff like that, and like just really went all in on it. And I know the other reason I brought this one up too is because for a while now there's been this narrative that the Chainsaw Man anime flopped. And so there is definitely people out there like you'll see people repost headlines like it was a financial failure in Japan, or it was not as big as expected, which I agree. It probably wasn't as big as expected, but here is someone who worked on it essentially saying, we tried something different and it worked really good. And I just thought that'd be an interesting thing to talk about is basically studios becoming more self-sufficient. He said that this is basically the key, because when you're basically only getting the royalties from the studio and the upfront deal, you're basically living hand to mouth at that point, right? And if production takes long or like any kind of delays happen, you're just screwed, and it could like financially ruin you. Whereas if you're doing the whole thing yourself, you take a bit more risk up front, but the profits could keep you afloat for decades.
Yeah. And I mean, just from a creative standpoint, it allows you to be more creative as well.
Yeah.
You can take more of a risk because you're the one who's funding it.
You are the production committee. Yeah.
You don't have people breathing down your neck to make sure that you're, I don't know, you got to make sure that this thing is just the way that we say it is, because it's up to you. You're making it.
Yep. You don't have some bigwig exec. Well, I mean, you do, because this guy is a bigwig exec, but you don't have a TV studio telling you what to do. Yeah.
It's in-house.
You have an actual creative person telling you.
It's your bigwig exec.
Yeah.
It's not theirs.
You are the bigwig exec.
You put yourself in the mind of a bigwig exec.
And inside, jug of milk spilled.
Yeah.
On the floor.
I just thought this was an interesting one to talk about, because they did something different, and it could be, and this is going to be a bit hyperbolic, but the future of anime, honestly.
Yeah. It's the one downside to it is you get concerned about big anime studios maybe taking over too much. Like Mappa can do this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can a small studio do something like this? Not as well. They wouldn't be able to. First of all, they wouldn't be able to outbid a big studio like Mappa for big properties like Chainsaw Man, and they wouldn't be able to fund it the same way that Mappa can.
Right.
So that's the downside. I mean, if I'm playing devil's advocate, I like the idea of creatives being able to be creative.
Yeah. That's kind of, I think, the takeaway is
at the same time, just to jump off the devil's advocacy, like the creative power is still filtered through who has the most money,
right? Just
in a different way, right? Which, I mean, it could be better, but like we don't know because we don't know the people that lost out because they didn't have enough money. But at the same time, like, that's still happening today, right?
It is. Yeah.
So,
it is.
I mean,
ultimately, it just becomes like we're just trading in one system that maybe doesn't work ideally for another system that doesn't work ideally, but there's pluses to it as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, which one do you want to take?
It sounds like he truly believes it's better for the studio's health to do it this way.
I would agree.
Which I kind of agree with.
Maybe it's a little bang or bust, like either you do it well and you gain the profits, or you make one that busts and then your studio's shut down because you have no more money.
It's a bigger risk for sure, because like the whole production committee would be a bigger safety net. But again, you have a lot more minds to filter through.
And they definitely chose the right property too, because like I feel like Chainsaw Man, people were going to watch that no matter what, right?
Yeah. It was a good. It was probably a good anime to experiment like this with, I think.
Yeah, I feel I feel like it probably wouldn't be a good way to do it for all anime, because like Isekai light novel number 568 is not gonna like, it's probably not going to go over as well as something like Chainsaw Man that has a massive following.
Right. Yeah.
And you've also kind of just like unlocked like a little key piece of a puzzle that's been bothering me for a while, is like, who is paying for these like ultra generic snore fest anime that come out every season to be made? And the answer is just like big TV studios that just like look for any property and just like, we just need to put something out. This is it.
Well, and publishers who go to the studios and say, "Hey, make this light novel. We need to sell more."
Or so, like, this light novel is selling for some reason. Make it.
Yeah, because ultimately, I hate to think about it, but it's true. A lot of anime is produced as just a advertisement for manga.
Oh, absolutely,
1,000%.
Yeah,
and it upsets me a little bit, because it's like, but I love anime. I don't want to think of it as just like a medium of selling something else. Like, I want to think of it as its own thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird for that, but
I kind of get what you're saying a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say like 75% of manga or light novel adaptations are that.
Yeah.
And then there's like the small percentage of people that genuinely want to make an adaptation of something because they were inspired by it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
That's it for my story. I'm glad that we got a good conversation out of it. Cole, what do you got?
Well, I'll lead off my duology of stories here with a little one. It's just a little story that's happening in the world of anime. It's the one that all three of us had to fight over, but I grabbed it because Mike stole something.
We had to fight over we had to fight over it, but like Canadian style.
Yeah, it was
because we were like, no, you take style. It, and then Mike was like, no, you take it, and then Cole's like, fine, I'll take it.
I'm just gonna take it anyway. Toho, the animation studio, the legendary animation studio, is acquiring Science Saru as its subsidiary. I mean, there's not much to this story in terms of like financial aspects of it, but we do know that Science Saru will become a subsidiary of Toho effective June 19th. It'll make it a consolidated subsidiary from the second quarter, which is June and August of the fiscal year ending in February 2025. So it sounds like the deal is done, but Science Saru seems like it's still going to be. Oh man, I don't know. I'm confused by this. My reading comprehension is
took a big step down there. Yeah.
Lots of words.
Yeah. Science Saru joining Toho. Interesting. Toho to me has kind of always been, now hear me out. I love Dragon Ball Z. I love Sailor Moon. One Piece exists. Toho to me has always kind of been mid. A little bit. Whereas Science Saru, I'm not a fan of Science Saru, but at least like they've always been very experimental. From my standpoint, I don't know if they're trying to Toho-ize Science Saru or Science Saru-ize Toho. Like what are we? Toho is obviously obtaining Science Saru. Is Toho trying to become more like Science Saru by bringing in that talent?
It feels like a Microsoft move. Obtaining an industry to be able to make more innovative or creative works under their banner instead of.
I think it's probably good for Science Saru too to have that more money backing. Yeah,
and it also gives because Toho, I think they mostly just do like the distribution of stuff and kind of like more big picture stuff. Whereas there's something that's called Toho Animation Studio, which looks like it only came about in 2023. And it just looks like they're trying to like dabble more in actually creating their own, maybe having their own studio under their belt.
Well, they're doing
Microsoft.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, essentially Microsoft. Yeah, they did Apothecary Diaries with Toho Animation Studio. And it just feels to me like a move similar to Microsoft where they said, we kind of want to get into this. And then they kind of tried it. And then they were like, then they basically saw that Science Saru was maybe struggling a little bit. And then they said, we are Toho. We have infinite dollars. Let's just buy something that already works and just do that.
Yeah. Keep it afloat.
Yeah.
And it's beloved. It's just unfortunate that Science Saru hasn't really. Like they just did the Scott Pilgrim.
They just did Scott Pilgrim. I think
they've been on
Science
a bit of a
Saru's doing
downturn
fine.
Lately.
It's just kind of like they want the backing to be able to do more with what they have, and Toho wants to be able to make the money that all these good anime are making. Like, I mean, I think Dandadan is coming out. Well, no, Dandadan's fall, right? So Dandadan will be under Toho's banner by that point.
And as far as Toho goes, they're doing Girl Band Cry or whatever, right now.
What, Toho?
I think so. Aren't they?
I'm looking. I'm on the Toho thing right now. Toho Animation Studio, no. But
no, okay. Maybe I'm getting confused with something else. But
could be.
I mean, this is just the way of the world, you know. Big companies buy up smaller companies, and hopefully, with the comparison between Xbox and Toho, hopefully that end game doesn't happen here as well.
Cole, I think you're confusing Toho with Toei.
I believe so, because I do that frequently too.
I think I am. Yeah. But yeah, I hope this doesn't turn into closing down studios.
I think it'll be fine. If anything, it's just going to be a boon for Science Saru.
Yeah, and it might end up with Science Saru becoming part of Toei Animation Studio. But like realistically, I doubt anyone's going to lose a job. They're just going to absorb them.
Well, Jay, do you have a second story here? The ultimate the final story from Jay ever.
So you were talking about One Piece and all of that, and it's funny you bring that up because Netflix recently released their most watched titles for the second half of 2023, and One Piece season 1 is first by almost 20 million views.
So the important thing to point out here, as an anime podcast, they're referring to the live action.
They are referring to the live action.
Okay.
Yes.
Which Cole famously does not believe exists.
I just refuse to accept that it's good.
So
it exists.
71 million people disagree with you, Cole.
It exists. I'm not delusional. I'm not delusional. I'm just convinced that the world is gaslighting me.
So I feel like Netflix could take this in two directions. One being that they realize that people like anime when it's done right and when it's done faithfully, and they do more stuff faithful to the source material. Or they go, people like anime, let's see how we can get this out as cheaply as possible to get a quick buck.
I'm leaning towards the second one there.
See, I totally disagree, because the whole reason why One Piece worked and Yu Yu Hakusho is not even on this list is because they put like a massive budget into it and got a ton of people who really cared about the property. And that's why it's number one.
I mean, I hope, like, I'm not a big Netflix defender, but I would hope that every time they try to make something, they try to make it well.
I don't think that's true.
For me, it always feels like whenever companies like this look at the data from these things, they always look at it in like at the wrong angle and completely miss the point of like what made the thing successful in the first place.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point you bring up.
My concern with Netflix is, okay, I'll buy that maybe One Piece is good. Okay, I'll buy that.
Let's live in a hypothetical world.
Let's live in a hypothetical world where Cole thinks that the One Piece show is good.
Okay.
My concern with Netflix is the old adage, even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Did they just stumble into making something good and now they're trying to figure out what they did that worked? Because I know Yu Yu Hakusho was in production before all of this happened and everything. But for that to be the anime adaptation that they released after One Piece, it doesn't bode well. I would say let's see what the next one is that they do. And then if they do that well, then okay, I'll bite. Maybe they've figured out the winning formula finally. But until they do that, I'm hesitant, and I think that it might just be we stumbled into something and we don't know how we did it.
I think at the same time, like, I'm interested in seeing how season 2 of the live action One Piece show performs.
Alabasta will be good.
That'll be a big tell. Yeah. Are they going to get their hands in too much now?
Yeah,
maybe.
Will it be better than Sex?
Yeah, no.
If we look at the list here, Sex is number 6 on the list. So
it's actually Sex Education is the name.
One Piece is canonically better than Sex.
Yeah. Your tweet in Discord here got cut out. It missed the second word.
Yeah.
It just says Sex.
What was the number 2 show, just for reference sake?
Number 2, just for reference, was Dear Child limited series with 52.5 million views.
What the is that?
I don't know what that is either.
What the hell even is that?
I don't know. Also, just for reference, Coco Melon is number 8. So, and Lupin Part 3 is number 4, or Lupin. How do you say that?
Witcher Season 3 is number 5.
Yeah. So those are all consistent. One Piece is just dramatic, like 20 mil higher than like basically the rest of the pack.
The Lupin show, that's the one with Idris Elba, right?
I believe so.
I believe so, yeah.
Is that like Lupin the Third?
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't think so.
Lupin's like a famous
I know,
character.
Yeah.
I know.
I think it's just another like adaptation of the Lupin character.
Yeah, because isn't like Arsène from Persona, like that's Lupin as well?
I think so.
Arsène Lupin is the guy's name, right?
So there we go. Yeah. We stumbled into it. We got it.
One last thing about the One Piece live action to convince you a little bit more, Cole.
It won't work, but you can try.
Here we go. When it was coming out, it was said that it is the most expensive thing Netflix has ever produced, with a budget of around $18 million per episode, surpassing anything. Like Cowboy Bebop, for reference, was $6 to $7 million.
Yeah,
so it's 3 times the budget of that.
It's not good company there, though.
Right, but I think there's a difference there. And then the other thing is, it has a higher budget than like Game of Thrones or Witcher.
I feel like the thing that's going to be said at the board meeting when they look at this is, how do we recreate this without spending as much money?
I don't think they can, because
I don't know if they'd be. My concern would be, we need to throw all of the money at this, and then it just becomes a muddled mess.
It's possible. It's possible.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
That's also possible.
Yeah.
They did a good job in the first season of adapting it faithfully while also making it work for a live action, is what I'll say. And I hope they continue that, because they had the right people in the room.
Yeah, I mean, Oda was supervising it, which like,
I think that's important.
That's what I mean. They had the
most of the
right people in the
time
room.
when Oda has some kind of supervising role over a One Piece property, it works to some degree.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Yeah. Mike, do you have a second story?
I was going to suggest going to you next, actually, because you also have another top list here.
Oh, I thought mine would be a good one to end on, but I'm happy to. No, I'll go. It's an interesting one. I thought we could maybe critique this list, because there is some stuff to be critiqued in this list.
I do like critiquing a list.
Yeah. So Japan's biggest anime outlet reveals its top 10 ranked spring 2024 recommendations. For those wondering what the anime outlet is, it's Animate. If people are familiar with that.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'll just run through the list here. We've got 10, possibly more somehow, shows. Number 10, Yatagarasu, The Raven Does Not Choose Its Master. Dave mentioned that a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
So interesting. Made the top 10. Number 9, The Irregular at Magic High School Season 3. Jay, this seems like one that you like.
Yeah. I get it. It's popular.
Have you seen the CG from it?
I think you're thinking of the Demon Lord one.
Which is
also airing this season.
You're correct.
But yeah, this is also a popular light novel adaptation. It's not great, but it's popular. So
yeah. I don't know if we need to break down every.
No, we don't need to break down everyone. It was more of a shot at Jay.
Yes.
Next up,
Jay
number
also
8.
likes the next one.
Number 8, My Hero Academia Season 7. Then we've got a 5-way tie for number 7. Laid Back Camp Season 3. Sound Euphonium Season 3. The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Season 3. Konosuba Season 3. And Demon Slayer Hashira Training Arc. I find this number 7 one to be just very unfortunate. The fact that Sound Euphonium Konosuba is this low on the list and tied. It's that's
Did they just say like if you're like a long running show, you must be tied at 7th place? Is that how it works?
I guess so.
Okay.
Number 6 also hurts my heart. Girls Band Cry. This is tied as well with Black Butler Public School Arc, the show that's kind of going under the radar. Is anybody watching this one?
I feel like Butler? The big thing about Black Butler is that like there was such a break in between the last season and this season that like the people that watched it either fell off or like have been eagerly awaiting for it. But the people who don't know don't really care.
And side story to Girls Band Cry, as I was literally at work, I was talking anime with one of my coworkers, and this other coworker came up behind me, and I was scrolling through I forget what I was trying to show him. I think I was trying to show him Train to the End of the World. And this other coworker comes up and he's like, keep scrolling. keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. And then he points at Girls Band Cry and he says, that's the banger this season. And I'm like, what is going on? I've never talked anime about with you before. And you come in here and you recommend Girls Band Cry. What is happening? Just a weird anecdote I wanted to share with you guys.
No,
Cole, you should watch it.
I would love to. Number 5, Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. Number 4, Train to the End of the World. I feel like David Letterman. Yeah. Number 3, Kaiju number 8. Number 2, Windbreaker. And the number 1 anime, according to Animate, for 2024 spring season, Oblivion Battery.
Mm-hmm.
What is simple. That even? Again, what is that? I haven't even heard of that.
Baseball anime by Studio Mappa.
What?
Based off of Shonen Jump Plus manga.
Yeah. I've never even heard of this in my life. Ever really? In my life's history.
Oh, okay. We've definitely talked about it.
Never. I've no, it's gone.
It's out of his brain. I'm not surprised.
Interesting
Japan
list.
Does love some baseball, especially.
Japan does love some baseball. That's true. That's true. It was just an interesting list. I thought the difference in maybe taste between what Western audiences and what Japanese audiences are looking for is completely different. Because what's the number 1 rated anime right now on AniList? Do you guys have it?
Euphonium.
Does it still sound Euphonium?
I think so.
Yeah, but this is not by rating. This is popularity.
Well, I mean, okay. What's the most popular one then?
Probably Demon Slayer.
Most popular is Konosuba.
Konosuba. Yeah,
and then Demon Slayer, then Kaiju number 8.
Yeah, it's I just thought it was just interesting.
The point Cole's trying to make is that I'm scrolling trying to find Oblivion Battery.
It is in Oblivion.
It is in Oblivion. Yeah, it's way down here with a measly 64%. It is not super popular. But honestly, like, if you told me, okay, Cole, I'm Cole, I'm going to read a list of the most popular anime in Japan for this season, I would not have expected it to be this close to like the actual Western rank. I think it's surprisingly close, to be honest with you. Other than Oblivion Battery. If you just kind of move Oblivion Battery down to be tied at 7th or something.
I mean, Mushoku Tensei wasn't even on the list.
I don't think it's big in Japan.
Spice and Wolf. Like there's a Whisper Me a Love
there's
Song.
No Spice and Wolf too, yeah.
Yeah. Like there's some shows that we're really liking over here that aren't really cracking the top 10 over there. Top 10 plus, because never mind, we've got
look, man, I don't know
7
how
in
much
there that should be tied.
I don't know how much I trust a list like this when like half of the list is number 7.
Yeah, that's a good point. Not quite half, fair enough. But very close to half. Yeah,
fair enough.
My point still stands.
Your point still stands. More than a quarter of the list is ranked 7. And how do you even have in a thing like this a 7-way tie? How does that happen?
Yeah, that's
right?
ridiculous.
Logistically, not a thing that this is just. Yeah.
This is a bad list.
This is caca poo poo is what this is.
Bad list. Come to us. We'll tell you how to make a list.
But at the same time, like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Japan doesn't like. I mean, I know Attack on Titan is popular over there, but I don't think it's as popular as it is here.
Right. Exactly.
Or Vinland Saga.
Yeah.
Vinland Saga for sure. I think AOT is still pretty popular there.
It's popular, but like Attack on Titan is insanely popular here in comparison.
I'm just basing this purely off of TikToks I've seen where people walk around Japan and ask Japanese people, "Oh, what's your favorite anime?" And you get a lot of Shingeki no Kyojins. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, based on like when you walk into like a 7-Eleven in Japan and you see the 8 millionth horse girl racing
Umumu
cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
Totally apparently that's a big one over there. Yeah. All right, Mike, let's wrap this segment up with your final story.
Yeah, I got a little topical one here for you. We've been talking Sony, we've been talking anime. So Sony famously bought merged Funimation and Crunchyroll recently.
Yeah.
And basically the latest story that I'm going to bring up here is that they're going to launch a quote unquote anime academy, basically to cater to this growing. It's them recognizing that anime is like a growing and ever popular thing that's here to stay. Yeah. And if anything, it's going to get more popular. So basically what they're doing is they're calling it an academy. I don't know what that actually means, but they're nurturing new anime creators to create in the anime space is basically what it boils down to. They're creating software that helps the animation process with AI and stuff like that. They're creating what else are they doing here? I read this story, I promise, and then I forgot it all.
That's okay. We've got a lot of stories here, Mike. It's okay.
True. Yeah.
So they're basically trying to invest in creating more creatives to create more
creations of anime.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They say that A1 and Cloverworks, which are apparently both subsidiaries of Aniplex, which I think is a subsidiary.
That's owned by Sony. Yeah.
Yeah. So they say that they're going to be like crucial to like creating these tools. And the tool that they're creating is called Anime Canvas, one word.
Okay.
And it's just a new animation software that uses AI type thing. And they're also saying that like they're planning on drastically ramping up the anime awards as well, like the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Unless maybe they're talking about our anime awards, which is totally possible too.
No. Then they would say weebies.
Look, Sony, if you wanna sponsor us to up the budget for our anime awards, we're all in.
Hey, we'll sell our souls. We'll sell our souls to Sony.
Yeah.
To
Sony.
Let's go. Yeah. The big thing here is that I'll give you two quotes here. The first one is, this is the CEO who's saying this. The launch of a project to establish an academy comes with the aim of nurturing anime creators in global markets, mainly by Aniplex and Crunchyroll, with collaboration from across the industry. And then the next thing he says is, basically he says, anime is a dynamic art form, and anime is a powerful force driving pop culture and connecting global fans. And basically it's just, the reason I brought this one up is it's interesting to see these giant companies, like Sony is hot take here. Sony's a massively influential company.
Yeah, I would agree reluctantly,
and to see them not just basically acknowledge anime and double down on anime is cool. And we've come so far. That's why I want to throw this one here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's such a huge thing for Japanese culture at this point as well, right?
Like it's probably it's got to be like one of their top exports at this point, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, and just around the world, like, not to like, of course, we love Japan. We love the culture of Japan, like traditional culture and everything. But like, if you talk to people and mention Japan, frankly, a lot of the first thing that comes to mind is anime.
Yeah.
I think. I think investing in that and maybe making it more impactful around the world as well, and get other creators. Like, I think what they want to do is have maybe animators from America.
Yeah, that's what they're hinting at. Yeah.
Which would be, cool. Very cool.
And I mean, like, there are a ton of people around the world that are super talented and can make anime just as well as people in Japan or Korea or wherever they outsource them to, that haven't been considered until now. So I mean, it just opens the net, which I say great.
Yeah, exactly. It's more eyes and more hands in the anime industry, which is always it's always a good thing to have more of those, right?
And you always and
that's why I have so many.
Yeah, and I mean they kind of need as many people as they can get, unless they want to work until they're dead.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's good. That's a good story. That's a good story to end this on.
Feel good one to end on.
Yeah. So we talked about bad lists. We talked about Sony taking over the world. We talked about
Oblivion Battery.
One Battery.
Yeah. One Piece.
Unfortunately, we talked about One Piece and Netflix. Mappa. Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. About Jay's grade 11 experience.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, we talked about that off air. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we know what we were talking about. Yeah. But what do you guys say we talk more after this break? We'll do some we'll name shows specific to specific genres. What do you guys think about that? Does that sound like a good idea?
It could work.
Could work. We'll workshop it.
Yeah, we'll workshop it.
We'll workshop it over this
break.
take that, Jay. Welcome back to AniPro. Mike's calling Jay names as usual.
I just said he looks like a guy who can't swim, okay?
What?
Yeah.
Jay does kind of look like a guy who can't swim.
That's true. I can't swim.
Can you actually not swim?
No, I'm a good swimmer.
Oh, that's weird, because you look like a guy who can't swim.
That's very weird.
I get that a lot.
Okay, no. What can't you do? What can't you do? I can't skate. That's my
I can't skate.
I can't skate either, which is I feel like we found 3 Canadians who can't skate.
That's why we do this podcast. We're gonna. Well,
I mean, 100% of Canadians can't skate. According to this math.
According to this podcast,
I can skate in like a straight line and turn and stop ungracefully. Is about as far as I can do. Okay. Yeah. I would say compared to like the average Canadian, I'm a very poor skater.
Yeah, I think what we should do is end AniPro as a podcast and start a new podcast where we just talk about how we can't skate.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah. And swim.
I can swim. Pretty well.
I can't do a backflip.
I don't think I could do a backflip either.
I like into the water or just like standing backflip.
Any kind of backflip.
I'm always, the only time I've ever done a backflip, I think, is on a trampoline, and it scared the ever-loving daylights out of me.
Yeah, that'd be scary.
I didn't like it. I don't like it.
Did I tell you guys my belly flop story?
No, please do.
But you must.
Yeah.
No, where I think it was the 3 meter or 5 meter diving board.
I think you have told me this.
You know what? This is ringing a bell. Yeah. But you should tell it again because you've already started.
Okay. So when I was in high school, I have a lot of high school stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should tell another one about grade 11.
Well, this one was in grade 11, so you're in luck.
Okay.
So I dared, or I bet one of my friends that, like, because he was a diver, I was like, that's so easy, I could do that. And he's like, no, it's not. Do you want to try? I'm like, I'm bet, let's go. So we go to the pool, and he's like, okay, you're gonna jump off the 3, and I was like, okay. So I go up, like, super confident, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. I get up, get to like almost the edge.
Oh no!
And the diving board starts to dip a little bit.
Oh no!
And I get like very nervous. So like I don't reach the edge of the diving board. I'm like
shaking in your boots a little bit.
I'm like at least like a foot away.
Yeah.
You said 3 meter too, right?
Yeah.
So that's 10 feet? No, that's like 15 feet, I think.
Something like that.
It'd be like 15 feet. Yeah. Meters about 3 feet.
Yeah. So I'm standing there 3 feet away from, or not 3 feet, like a foot away from the edge of the diving board. Like, shaking. Okay, I need to jump. I need to prove my friend wrong. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to jump. I'm just going to go for it. So I jump, hit my, I think it was my left foot on the edge of the diving board.
No.
And I remember just like flailing in midair, belly flopped straight into the water.
Yeah. And then you came up and all you could hear were the gasps.
No. Underwater, I could hear just like a muffled, ooh.
How red was your belly?
Pretty red. My foot was bleeding, so I need to immediately get out of the water.
Yeah, God.
And get
15 feet, that'll do it.
Like bandaged.
Yeah.
Well, it was because I hit my foot on the diving board.
Right. Yeah. The diving board would have like sprung up and smacked you. Yeah. You're lucky that you were just bleeding. You could have you could have broken your foot. Yeah. Well, I haven't done anything like that. Yeah.
No, I have something like that. I grew up in the country, and there was this I grew up like basically on like a lake/river area, and there was this bridge that was like nearby, and we would always we'd drive our like 4-wheelers over there and like just take turns jumping off the bridge into the river. It's a lot of fun. Incredibly scary the first time you do it.
Yeah.
Because and no matter how many times you do it, it's still scary the first time you do it that time, because you're just like you're just conditioned in your brain to not jump off of things.
Yeah, to not jump off of a bridge. It's a good thing the water out there is super deep too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like if it was only like 6 foot deep, you'd
as a 6 foot tall person, that
do
would
some
not,
damage.
I'd be sticking out. I think it's like 20 something feet where we were. So yeah,
it's pretty deep out there. Yeah,
you may be able to touch if you.
But you wouldn't like do damage off the bottom.
No.
You should belly flop next time you go out there, though.
No, absolutely not. I can never
on
do
his
the
4-wheeler.
I always hated doing the front dive. You know how you're supposed to like pencil dive from heights like that?
Yeah.
But a front dive is just a little too hardcore for me. There are people who do like flips and stuff off it.
That's too long being upside down.
Yeah. And like head first is just a choice when you're diving in when there's like a risk of like broken neck. Head first is
yeah. Rather break your ankle like Jay.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, anime. That's what we talk about here on this podcast.
That's what the podcast is about.
As I was alluding to before the break, we're going to discuss different genres again. This is part 2 of our ongoing series, which we affectionately have come to call. We haven't come up with a title for it, but why don't we specify what genres we're doing anyway? So we each had to pick two. We had to pick 2 genres off of our list, our secret list. So Mike, which 2 did you pick?
Oh, yes, I remember. I selected action. And what else did I select? I selected action and horror. Thank you, Cole. Yes,
I've got them here in case you didn't know. Yeah. I selected music and sci-fi. And Jay, what did you select?
I selected psychological and slice of life.
There we go. So we're the 3 of us are each gonna pick one to represent these 6 genres, and we'll do a little discussing about them, just a little bit, just a teeny tiny discussion. But without further ado, why don't we go from youngest to oldest, starting from the top of the list, which would be action. So Jay, my good friend Jay Gardian, what is your nominee for action?
Yeah, anime. So when I thought about action, I think about a show that I just like. I'm not really into it for the story, but more so just to like see cool people fight. Maybe blood splatter if I'm up for it. Maybe not.
If you're feeling spicy,
I'm feeling spicy. With like a great soundtrack and animation to like keep you like pumped up for the action that's being shown. And for me, the anime that exemplifies that for me is a film, an anime film known as Sword of the Stranger.
Yes, Sword of the Stranger.
I love this movie. The plot's rather simple, but like because of how simple it is, it allows for first of all like interesting characters, and those characters are put in really well choreographed and shot fight scenes that are just always hype and exciting to see.
What's like the plot of it? Because I feel like I've heard this name of this one many times, but I've never actually seen it or kind of heard anything about it. So what's like the elevator pitch?
So pretty much this kid is being hunted down by the Chinese for a mysterious reason. So he hires a swordsman, a wandering swordsman, to guide him to a certain place to help him take care of his injured dog.
Okay.
As you do.
Kind of John Wicky a little bit.
A little bit. The comparison I draw the most from is Rurouni Kenshin.
Okay.
If you liked Rurouni Kenshin back in the day, but you can't stomach it anymore for various reasons, this will probably scratch that itch. It's well choreographed, probably one of the best choreographed fights in anime.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing I know from this is kind of that like fight that they do, and like
the final fight.
Yeah. Is the building on fire?
No,
or is it in the snow? I might be.
It's in the snow.
Okay,
it's in the snow.
Yeah, I knew one of those 2 things was right.
The music's fantastic. The choreography is on another level.
I mean, it's Studio Bones from what I'm looking at.
Studio Bones.
They know how to do a choreograph.
Yeah. And like the thing I love about the sword choreography in this is like it doesn't feel like that flashy sword fighting that like you'll see in most anime where like they don't like it looks cool, but like you probably wouldn't use that in a practical fight.
Right.
This feels practical. Whether or not it actually is
that.
like I'm not a swordsman, but it looks
I'll let you know.
practical.
Cole owns many swords.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
that is true. But yeah, it's a great movie, top to bottom. Great fights. Got that like it's got the like Tarantino-esque to it, like Kill Bill.
Mm-hmm.
The poster looks a little Tarantino-y.
So like honestly, if you like that samurai feel with blood, a lot of blood splatter and crazy action, great music, well directed, this is the movie for you.
This is it.
It's so good.
This is it. I haven't seen it, so
I haven't seen it, so I don't have much to say.
It's probably on the list. I've seen bits and pieces.
You both do need to see it.
Yeah,
I suspect I'll like it. I do see in the recommendations there is an anime that me and Cole watched together called Ninja Scroll. Do you remember that one, Cole?
I do remember that one.
That's a good action anime too.
I wouldn't call it good, but it was
it was fun. An action anime that's old.
It was a good time. But Mike, what's your nominee here?
All right. In action. Similar to what Jay was in action. Similar to what Jay was saying, an action needs to obviously have action, right? It needs to have it needs to be animated well. It needs to kind of flow great. The choreography has to be great. The fights have to be it pretty much essentially is going to be an anime with fighting in it is generally how it works, right?
Yeah.
And for that reason, I kind of went with a bit of a sort of a cop-out answer, but I genuinely believe the second season of this show is probably the best action anime of all time, but I've lumped them both together. I went with Jujutsu Kaisen as my best action anime of all time if I were to put it on a pedestal for those to see. Yeah. And the reasons are kind of similar. I think it is, the first season is just a good action anime for the most part. There's action in pretty much every beat of it is action, whether it's a fight or just like the characters running around chasing Megami and Gojo through the shopping mall and stopping Megami from getting hit on or something. And there's action in many ways, but the fights are truly what set it apart from the pack. And once you get into season 2, every episode of this show, I was on the edge of my seat for the second season. Yeah. And every fight is, I remember watching it as it was airing last year, and it was like, every episode of this is, the next fight is better than the last. And I remember watching like specifically the fight in the bathroom there. I'm forgetting who it was. The Choso and Yuji fight. And it was like, oh, this is like one of the coolest choreographed fights I've ever seen in anime. And it just looks incredible. So it was a pretty easy pick for me here, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fair. I still haven't watched the second season of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's on the list. It's just, I haven't gotten around to it, but I could see the second season being much more action heavy than the first was. The first one had some really good fights. Don't get me wrong, but based on everything I've seen about the second season, like it just seems like there's more to it in terms of action in the second season. So from an action standpoint,
I think the first season took a bit to figure out what it was.
Yeah,
I mean, it just the manga worked.
Yeah,
and the second season event is where it developed into just basically Jujutsu Kaisen is just a battle shonen. It's just fight after fight. That's pretty much all that ever happens. And
I feel like,
sorry, Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like from the lens of an action series, like it's well animated, well choreographed. The power system is really cool.
Memorable characters.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you're looking for cool fights, Jujutsu Kaisen is good.
Yeah. Even if you come at it from just like Google cool anime fight, it'll probably end up on there. Yeah,
for sure.
No, I mean,
for sure.
Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah. I'm here for that one, Mike.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is the first time I think I've ever got you both.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, actually, it's stupid. Yeah. It's dumb. It's stupid, and I hate it.
It's cool because
that
as
sounds
you're watching
very
it too,
lame and boring and dumb and stupid.
Thank you, Jay.
Wow, Jay, how did you say that without your mouth moving?
That's crazy. And also, for some reason, you guys switched places on my screen when you played that drop. I don't know how that happened. Now, Cole, you're on the right, and now you're in the middle. Anyway,
all right.
The cool thing about Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 is they switch the anime art style multiple times, and it's different fights have different art styles and stuff. It's quite neat. It's a visual feast for sure.
It's a treat.
Cole,
yes.
My heart is full of action right now, and the only thing that's gonna tame it is more action. So can you tell me what your best action of all time is? Action?
Yeah, so I should just say, like, if I was, the way that I came at this list this week was kind of like, if I was recommending shows to somebody specifically for these genres, like if somebody came to me and they're like, I'm an action fan, tell me an anime to watch. That's what action fans sound like.
I was just gonna say, like, that's basically what I say to people as an action fan. So you nailed it. Yeah,
I genuinely did recommend my choice to someone this week, so that's kind of why I picked it.
I mean, to be honest, like any of our picks,
to me too.
I think would be good. But just echoing off of what you guys say, like you're looking for animation, you're looking for great soundtrack, you're looking for it's stuff that gets you hyped. And honestly, I don't know what gets you more hyped than like. They only do it a couple times a season, but when they do it, it's like it blows the internet up, and that is Ufotable with Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I'm glad you put this here.
Yeah, would be my pick. Like, yeah, it may not be like the best show. Like, it's a bit generic for what people say, but like you have to give it its props. It gets your blood pumping when it needs to. And like Ufotable just does it's just a masterclass in like production and music and I don't know, just cool stuff. Like the art style really lends itself well to big hype moments.
Yeah. And
to me, that's what like an action anime is. Like you think 100%. Of like the Jiren Goku fight in Dragon Ball Super, and you think of like the second to last episode of every season of Demon Slayer is always like, oh my God, I can't believe they've done it again.
And like, it's to the point where like when they'll announce like who's the animator, and Jujutsu Kaisen did the same thing. Like they'll announce on Twitter who the animator for the next episode is. And people are like, oh my God, they got my boy. It's going to be a good episode.
Yeah. Like the end of the Mugen Train. It's just awesome. Like it's incredible. When the anime goes off.
Yeah.
I think that's something that can be attributed to Ufotable is like they absolutely know like what scenes in the manga will go off if extended to its absolute limit.
Yeah.
Cause like that one fight in the entertainment district arc, I think is like a couple panels, and they completely expanded it and made it like
they do an awesome job. Yeah.
It's what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, I think, where we were talking about taking a manga and adapting it in a way that transforms it into something better, right? And that's 100% what Demon Slayer is.
Yeah, they exceed the initial, and I'm like a Demon Slayer apologist. I enjoy the manga, but even me, like somebody who enjoys the manga, has to say, like, man, Ufotable, like they elevated the initial work to something that went from good to borderline great, I would say.
Yeah. Because like, can you imagine if like Demon Slayer got animated by one of those studios that do like the generic isekai every season, you know?
Yeah. Or even like A1. Like good studios, but just they can't elevate to that next level, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be my pick for action. That's what I would recommend if somebody was looking for an action anime. Now let's move on to our next genre. Jay, the next genre is horror.
Oh my God, you scared me.
I know.
Horror, the spookiest of genres.
The spookiest of all genres. Jay, what would be your horror anime?
So, my answer for like the best horror anime, I think that the one I picked is like just quintessentially the best to me, but like it's really hard to do a horror anime. I feel like a lot of horror is just kind of difficult to pull off in an animated art form.
Yeah.
I'll take like the Junji Ito anime adaptations as an example. Like,
yeah,
a lot of the panels that are adapted over just kind of like become funny when in anime form.
Yeah. I'm not to kind of blow my load early here, but I'm still waiting to watch an anime that at least gives me the creeps, let alone like scares me.
So for me, I watched this anime when I was younger, and it genuinely did give me the creeps at the time, and that was Parasite. Just like a very, very interesting story, of like, what would you call it? Like, I mean, I guess it's like about like body jacking.
So I'd call it a body horror. Is the specific? If you get more specific of the genre of horror, and it's basically it's interesting because it's kind of like an environmental message. It's like it's almost like sci-fi-y.
It's like The Thing. It's like anime The Thing.
Yeah.
It's a little more heavy.
I think that's pretty apt. At the same time, like that. The main character, it was like Shuichi or Shinichi or whatever. Him slowly losing his humanity was also terrifying as a kid. That like that existential dread. I guess that like Lovecraftian horror. Of it. Was also like just great horror in and of itself.
Yep.
So like all of those things together make for a great horrific but also like very entertaining package that I think
and I mean
deserves a watch.
It's got the classic like Cronenberg-esque like body horror, like The Fly, The Thing, like I mentioned. Very
it's got
scary
antagonist too.
The problem with something like anime with body horror is it's almost too clean, where like you watch something like The Fly and it's just so visceral and gross, where you don't get that with anime. I don't mean to critique. This is the one where I'm probably going to be the most critical because I really don't.
I appreciate that. Go ahead, Jay.
I think like for me, the thing that kind of got more of like a sense of fear out of me was like that sense of losing control. Because like
I could see that.
The thing that they do is like the parasites take control of you.
It's like a psychological horror almost, I'd say.
Almost. But like, I think like that in and of itself was the thing that kind of
and kind of bouncing off of yours, I do feel like what Cole's saying is anime. I've thought actually quite like long and hard about this before, and why horror does not translate well to manga. I find it's hard to do, but it works a little bit better. But anime in particular doesn't work really at all for the most part. And it's and my theory is that when you watch anime, the people who like anime is you're good at suspending disbelief. And you're good at basically like you, and then when you see something that's horror, the appeal of horror is that you aren't suspending disbelief. You are putting yourself in the shoes of that situation, and that's what's scary to you. But when you're watching an anime, you're really you're more watching like you're watching it. You're not living it as much, right?
Yeah, so there's kind of a wall between.
It's more performative, so it's harder to be scared.
I think at the same time, because it's animated, it's harder to think like, oh, this is real.
I think that's what Mike's saying.
Right?
That's basically what I'm saying. And then the reason why manga works a little better is because there's more imagination involved there. You're
filling in more blanks.
You're filling in more blanks, so your brain's a little more active. You're kind of creating it, making it scarier for yourself than maybe it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, H.P. Lovecraft like counted on you making stuff up, where he would just describe something as something horrific beyond imagination, and it's like, oh my god, it's so scary!
It's so scary!
That's
it's horrific
so scary
beyond imagination.
I can't even imagine how scary that is.
Yeah. Even going to like movies, like you watch Alien, and they do such a good good job with Alien because they don't show the alien, or Jaws is the other famous example. But yeah, sorry, Mike, I guess it's your turn.
Fear of the unknown, really.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting too to hear you guys like talk about your actual horror movie picks too, because like when I think of horror movies, I think of like slashers and stuff like that, and you're going more the sci-fi heady horrors, which is more in line with the things you've picked for sure. I went the completely different route. I went with something. So when Cole, I was tempted to jump in when Cole said he hasn't watched an anime that's made him wince or cringe or just feel uneasy or uncomfortable. And there is a specific scene in an anime that just immediately comes to mind when those words when I hear someone saying, give me something that's going to make me feel really uncomfortable to watch. And that is from a show that I've talked about before when we talked about horror anime, but it's called Higurashi When They Cry is my pick for horror anime. And the reason is because there is this, it's interesting because it's like very shoujo kiddie aesthetic to it. Like it looks like it almost gets you off guard because you expect it to not be what it is.
Yeah.
And then it shows you some truly horrific stuff that is just truly like awful to watch. Like there's one scene that's kind of famous with like a device that slowly pulls the fingernails out of the person's hand. And like for some reason when you're watching that, it truly gives you like that like nauseous feeling in your stomach, and it honestly is one of the most scary things I've watched, and just like from like this is very more slasher than psychological for sure.
Yeah. It's more it's doing the gore horror, like Saw.
The gore.
Gore. That's a good way to put it. The gorer, and it also does have some of the psychological stuff too. Like the whole premise is like there's a curse that's and people keep dying and then it loops or whatever. But
there's some supernatural elements to it as well.
I watched it around Halloween, and I'm gonna watch the second half of it probably this Halloween. But it definitely lives in my heart as one of the best horror.
I mean, I'm not gonna
just go look up the fingernail pulling scene and tell me if you watch that comfortably.
Yeah, I probably will, but that's probably says more about me. Listen, I'm weird. Okay, I grew up. My mom would watch I remember my mom would watch like Trauma: Life in the ER on TLC, and it was all like surgery and stuff like that. And I was like a little kid. I was like 6 years old, like watching full on real gore. So that kind of stuff doesn't really bother me so much. Also, I grew up watching like UFO and ghost hunting shows and stuff. Like, I think I'm just desensitized to
I think you've been horror. Desensitized a little bit.
Yeah, that's
like I'm waiting for something to really scare me.
To rustle your jimmies,
yeah. So like when I pick my horror anime, like and I've picked it before. I won't beat around the bush. I'll just say it's Evangelion because I'm a contrarian. Like to me,
I don't even think it's that contrarian anymore. I think I've come full circle on your take that it's just a good take. I think I think when more people hear me initially say it, like Evangelion's low key, like a really good horror anime, they think like, what? It's a robot anime about a boy who won't get in the robot. But it's like, no, it's psychological, like there's these Lovecraftian like monsters. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what they want. And you're fighting against them for some reason. Meanwhile, there's all of this other stuff that's going on with like humanity being like amalgamated into one giant thing. Like there's a lot of weird stuff that when you sit down and think about it is like, this is some freaky deaky stuff. But like, even from that standpoint, like it doesn't scare me as much as it like gives me that kind of dread a little bit.
That like existential dread.
Yeah, it's existential, I think. If you like the existential horror aspect of it and you watch Evangelion from a horror standpoint, you'll probably get something out of it. Another one which I thought about putting on here instead, but I had to go with Evangelion, was Devilman Crybaby, kind of for that same thing.
About that too. Yeah.
Going off of what Jay said about like the losing yourself. Like the main character like completely changes through the story and just somebody completely different, and the horrors of humanity and stuff like that. It's probably a better pick.
Cole, I think they're both good because they both have one thing in common that I think is what you truly are scared of, Cole. Religion.
I mean, like, there, of course,
religion's scary. A good horror has somehow like some sort of like priest or nun or devil or something involved, and isn't
that kind of the primordial fear? Like, what happens after we die, right? Where like religion seeks to answer that. I don't want to get into like a religious debate or anything like
the whole point of like monster movies is the monster is meant to represent a thing that is scary, like zombies represent a virus that is uncurable, right, for example. So like I mean
I mean that sure. But that would be my pick. Like it's a cop out in the sense that like I always end up picking Evangelion as my horror pick, but like I also know that it's kind of a weird one, and I
think it's a take that you've kind of just like planted your flag and you're just kind of riding with it. It's my
take. It's my take, this one. Yeah. So I'm gonna run with it. Yeah.
No, I think it's a good take. In the sense of how horrific that can be. Yeah, it checks out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Jay, what would be your what's the next one?
Music. Truly the scariest thing of all. Music.
The scariest thing of all.
Yeah.
So I this one was actually kind of easy.
I struggled with this one
because immediately when I thought of music, there was one that came to mind, and then another one came to mind. And I was like, oh, that one's better. So I went with Beck Mongolian Chop Squad. It is just a fantastic story about being a rock star.
That's my life, mate. That's my life.
That's the life, man. And like seeing this band like go from like just a local whatever band to like slowly rising up to international fame or whatever have you is so intriguing. And like I know stuff like K-On! And I guess on another sense Love Live does this too, but the thing that kind of I appreciate more about Beck is like it's both the pros and cons of becoming a famous musician. Like the depression that can come with it, the dark side of yourself, and like that in and of itself is amazing, and all the drama around it like loops back to the music. So like,
and I feel and like also that's what the drama or I mean music anime tend to be is basically a drama where just music is coincidentally also involved.
I mean, hey, art reflects real life. Look at all of those bands in the 70s, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles.
The thing, you don't even have to go that far back even, about Beck is like it doesn't feel like the music doesn't just happen to be involved, but rather like it is the reason for the drama.
Right. And I think that's why it's one of the good music anime. I really need to watch it because I know I'll like it for sure.
Man, both of you would love this. Would love Beck.
Yeah, probably.
It is,
but I'll never watch it.
The best music anime.
I'll never watch it because you recommend it.
And it has. Look, they dubbed the entire. They didn't get around to finishing it because of various circumstances at Funimation at the time, but most of the soundtrack.
They dubbed the soundtrack.
Show. They dubbed like the music that they play in the show.
Interesting.
And it's good.
So that makes also, by the way, Jay, 2 in a row for you for Studio Madhouse anime.
Ooh,
just putting it out there.
The next one is.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take that as my cue to jump in.
So. Yeah,
and I kind of view this endeavor we've taken on of going through all the genres of anime and just giving our bests as really like a way to talk about the genres themselves and kind of talk about what makes a good music anime really, right? And Jade hit on a few things there where the music is a part of the show. It's important the music is good too.
Yeah.
And it's important that the character drama is kind of the real plot. But the music has to serve a purpose too. And I mean, what better example of a music anime? And this is going to be a bit of me. I feel weird doing this because it feels like recency bias, but it's not. Don't come at me. It's not.
I won't.
I went with Bocchi the Rock She's right there behind Cole, Bocher herself.
Cole's so mad right now.
I'm
Cole,
furious.
Explain why Bocchi the Rock is the greatest music anime.
Because it's the best. Well, no, it's your show. You stole it from me, so keep going.
I don't want to have to explain.
I don't have to explain what this drivel
okay, no,
is good.
I'll let me go off. Let me go off.
I know. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to explain,
Mike
and then you're going to
steals
just
Cole's favorite anime and then
up.
says, "I don't want to explain why this terrible show is good."
Yeah.
No, it's great because, like, first of all, you get the dynamic between all the girls and the different types of musicians that you're gonna like run into. So like Rio's kind of just your quiet, like classic introvert who is very full of themselves, which is great. You get Nijika, who's just kind of bubbly and fun and excited, and she just wants to play music. And of course, Bocchi is just pure introverted depression, which is that's where you get the good stuff out of there.
Also, see Cole's last pick, Evangelion. And the other thing I appreciate too about Bocchi is that it feels real to me in the way that, like, when I know Cole's brought this up on the pod before, but like when Bocchi joins this group for like their first practice together, she's an incredible guitarist, but she's never played in a band before, so she sucks the first time because she's like, oh crap, I don't know how to work, because like half of being a musician is just knowing how to work with your other musicians. There's like an unspoken language, and I feel like Bocchi really captures that so well. And like you can just tell that whoever conceived this or animated this probably understood that, and that's why it's probably the best music anime of all time, in my opinion.
The other thing I like about this one is I always complain about, like, in music anime where it features high schoolers, like, why are they so good?
Yeah.
Where this one, like, they are good, and that's kind of like canonical. Like, they're good, they're talented for their age, and that's why, like,
that's the appeal.
Yeah, they don't just like pick up a guitar in episode 1 and be like, well, let's play a little song, guys, and then drop like Stairway to Heaven. And it's like,
I will say though, K-On! Does a good job of that too, because like the OP and the ED do not reflect how they sound in the show. Like, they're kind of not a very good band, but it's fun. I don't want to get caught up on K-On!
I like that though. Because like, later. Realistically, they're not.
We may later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Bocchi the Rock was my pick until Mike submitted his list before me, so I had to change mine.
I've only watched like a handful of music anime, to be honest with you. I don't know why. I like music. I don't know why I'm not watching more music anime. That's a hole I need to fill in my soul for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like me with sports anime.
Yeah, I know in my heart that Cole's watched a billion music anime. So he's got many to choose from. So I didn't feel too bad stealing this one.
Yeah.
So I just thought of an idea for future genre things, and I'll talk about it off air. But maybe we can alleviate this issue.
Here, I'm going to write down Jay's idea, and then we'll talk about it after.
Very vague.
Yeah.
Well, it's just something to remind me. Okay, so I guess that's my turn now. So like I kind of said, Bocchi the Rock was my initial pick, but Mike took it, so I'll forgive him someday. Someday I'll forgive him. But you know what? He left me with, honestly, it was between these two. So I went with my 1B. I went with a show that is just, again, like, music is kind of the medium and the amalgamation and the meeting of all of the drama that happens through the show, and it builds up into the final performances that happen in it. And for me, it's Sound Euphonium would be my pick. It's just a wonderful show about, like, working together and overcoming obstacles as a group and as individuals as well. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is the best sports anime that isn't a sports anime. And I love Sound Euphonium, but it kind of made me realize when we were going through all of these, is all music anime just sports anime that isn't sports anime? Like, is that not ultimately the same? Like, are they not ultimately aiming for the same thing? We want to make it big. We've got to work together, and we got to try hard.
I think the difference between sports anime and music anime, aside from, I guess, like
the sports versus
sound
the music,
mm-hmm. No, is sometimes the bands will actually like play against other bands, and there will be like a competition. Whereas in other shows, it'll just be like they're playing and they're doing their thing, and there's no real competition there.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wouldn't go with something like K-On! I love K-On!, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But K-On! To me is kind of just like, I don't know, it's music it's tangentially a music anime. Like, it's not really the main thing. It's more about these girls.
It has music in it.
It has music in it. It's more about these girls just hanging out, having a good time. And we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I think the difference between music and sports anime, for me, like it's a good take by you. The only difference is like music obviously includes music and the musical performance.
Yeah.
Whereas there's really no equivalent to like because there's, you know, how every music anime has like a 2 or 3 minute song in the middle of it for the most part. There's really no equivalent to that in sports anime.
Well, the performance itself, yes, but I mean, like the big game at the end of the anime.
Yeah,
we made
like
the finals.
Cole's equating the performance to the game,
right? Yeah. Which I get, but you asked what's the difference, and I'm telling
I meant like from a narrative standpoint,
exactly equal. In my opinion.
There's no 1-to-1, but I do understand Cole's comparison. And I will say, like, for Sound Euphonium, it could potentially be KyoAni's magnum opus.
I think it may go down as it. Like, this most recent season of Sound Euphonium has been awesome. It's been so good. I've been enjoying it thoroughly. And
it's their baby. Like, it's the thing that they made.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I can hear people arguing for Violet Evergarden or Haruhi or something like that. But my argument against that is someone else wrote those. Yeah. Someone else created those. They're just like adapting it. Whereas like
Sound Euphonium is an adaptation too.
Is it? I thought it was an original.
No, it's a light novel. But I know KyoAni, they have like in-house publishers, kind of. Like, they have an agreement with a lot of light novels where they say, you write a light novel and we're going to adapt it. But it is an adaptation. But regardless, I'm going to go off of what Jay said.
All right. Well, disregard everything I said. Violet Evergarden is number one.
No, I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. I just think
you dug your own grave with that one.
No, it's beautiful. Like, it is, honestly, I think I've talked about this before. It's just one of the most thoroughly beautiful shows that anyone can watch. Just the brass of the instruments, the character designs, the lighting. KyoAni does such a good job with lighting on characters. And this one, they do a great job with this one as well. But yeah, that would be mine. Sound Euphonium.
Good pick. Yeah. I need to watch it because I, again, have no
You
comments.
You do need to watch it. Let's talk about Sci-Fi, though. Jay?
Sci-Fi. Kind of like horror. It's a bit difficult to do a true sci-fi show.
Okay.
But especially like in the shonen genre, or demographic, I suppose.
Okay, I'll agree with you more on that one, I'll say.
I'm leading into my thing.
Keep going.
Continue.
Sci-fi is very, very difficult. But by God, someone somehow was able to pull it off with World Trigger.
How could they do it? Unbelievable. How could they do a good sci-fi?
And by someone, you mean Toei.
Well, I mean the mangaka that made World Trigger and then Toei.
Okay. Yeah.
But like, it's such an interesting world. And like the sci-fi aspect doesn't feel contrived at all, but like it feels like an integrated thing. It's just a fascinating sci-fi series. I was going to go with Steins Gate for this, but I feel like the thing that I appreciate more about Steins Gate is the drama
Yeah.
And the over like maybe even the psychological aspect of it.
Yeah.
That then the sci-fi that I kind of defaulted to this, but like I think like as a sci-fi shonen series, this is so unique, so well thought out, and it doesn't get as much love as it deserves, and I want to give it that love. So
yeah. No, world building is so
fantastic.
You mentioned world building, like that's so important in sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen World Trigger. I don't know much about it, but I know that it's fairly long running.
It's beloved too.
It's still ongoing.
The people who do
the
know
manga
it love it.
Yeah. No, good pick, Jay.
Yeah, a good pick, I guess. I don't know. I disagree with you though fundamentally that sci-fi is hard to do in anime because there are so many good sci-fi anime. Just because like mecha is a genre that exists. Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Mecha's a different thing though.
It's like fundamental to anime sci-fi. And I'll go with my choice, I guess. And my choice is something that actually is, I never had thought about it as sci-fi. Okay. So maybe it's a weird pick to put as my sci-fi anime, but I picked Code Geass.
Oh, okay, sure.
Which I don't know what, see, when I think of sci-fi, I think of like dry space operas, like Legend of the Galactic Heroes and stuff like that. And the thing that I really appreciate about Code Geass is that it's like, it's so stylistic and has so, it's just dripping in style and flair and excitement that at no point are you bored while watching it.
Yeah.
And for a person with like I don't have a super long attention span. TikTok has ruined my brain. So when I watch Lelouch be a silly little goose out there and just like flying mechs around and using his Geass like a fool, and you know what? The more I think about it, the more it makes sense as a sci-fi, because it's got the crucial elements of sci-fi: robots, sci-fi powers, and like technology, political intrigue, and like a maniacal protagonist who could be an antagonist. Feels like that's the hallmark of good sci-fi. And Code Geass checks all those boxes several times over.
I mean, the biggest question with Code Geass is, where did he get the costume from? Did he make that?
It's kind of like sewing.
It's like Spider-Man.
It's like Spider-Man in the first Spider-Man. How did he get this costume? It's way too elaborate.
Yeah,
he did not make that out of paper mache. I'll tell you that right now. He's got like a little thing
that dumpster somewhere.
I mean, to his credit, he is literally royalty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm nitpicking. But it's one of those things where it's like,
where the joke though?
He just appears.
I mean,
with
like
his costume.
you can tear apart Code Geass for a lot of the things that it does wrong, but like the thing that it does right, aside from like the political intrigue and all that, is like it feels, whether or not like the cliches have been done before, it feels unique. And it makes everything that like might feel like it's been done before its own thing.
Yeah.
So like Code Geass is a great show.
Yeah, the subtle world building in Code Geass I enjoy too. Like the whole concept of it being, it's not just the future. Like this is an alternate timeline where the UK won the Revolutionary War and the United States never existed. That was just another territory of the United Kingdom. Yeah. It doesn't explain that. Like you need to go and find that information for you. Like a lot of people probably don't even realize
you to like Code Geass.
Well, with sci-fi, like
sci-fi, yes, you do a little bit.
No, it gives you what it needs to, but like if you want to dig deeper, you can, right? Yeah. And that's the good thing about Code Geass. Like if you want to dig deeper into it, it's got a whole, like if you did a prequel on Code Geass, I think it would be just as good as the initial Code Geass.
And like it has so much room for spin-offs. Like I mean, look at what they're doing right now. Like they're still doing spin-offs to this day.
Yeah.
That like the room for expansion is ever present.
Yeah. No, great pick, Michael.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys approve. Cole.
Now it's my turn. Now it's my turn to blow your guys' socks off as the resident sci-fi boy. Get ready. No, I mean, there's lots of good sci-fi. I don't know what Jay's talking about. I mean, yeah, like Mike said, Gundam.
I didn't say there weren't good I said there were. It's hard to do.
It's hard to do.
Legend of the Galactic Heroes. You got classics.
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop. Ghost in the Shell. Akira.
Evangelion.
Evangelion. You got lots and lots of great stuff. But ultimately, I could only pick one. And the one that I went with was, of course, it's a great action show. I love the show for what it is. But I also love the concepts in the show that I'm going to eventually pick. It holds a good sci-fi to me, holds a mirror up to society and says, we could get here realistically.
Yep.
And that's Psycho-Pass for me. You
You
live in a society where maybe surveillance has kind of gotten out of control, and we may have focused too much on like crime prevention, stuff like that. So, Jay's losing it. I thought that was a very good.
No. Sorry, I just you said we live in a society, and instantly my brain went to Joker.
Okay, we live in a society.
We do live in a society.
We do live in a society that maybe, like surveillance could perhaps bring us to a point where we put too much emphasis on public safety at the risk of public freedoms at all.
Yeah.
Which, and I'm by no means
Some would argue we're already there.
I'm by no means, because I don't want this to come off as like me being like some kind of libertarian doomsday prepper or anything like that. I'm not. I just enjoy sci-fi where it brings me down a road where I could see where something like this could happen realistically. It's not a alternate timeline. It's not a
I think
in the far future on a different planet this is happening.
It makes you think. Makes you say, and it's a little, there's usually a little bit of the horror aspect to it as well, that existential stuff.
Yeah, right? Like sci-fi works very well with horror. That's why something like Alien works well. But the like Psycho-Pass is such a good show. With AI now taking over in our everyday life, like that's also the Sybil system and Psycho-Pass. Go watch Psycho-Pass. It's so good.
First season anyway.
The first season's very good. If you really like the first season, you can get through the rest of it. But the first season is definitely it peaks early.
You're a second season apologist, though, aren't you?
I'm like you like an apologist, I suppose. But I like the first season is the best season.
Yes,
bar none.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the most recent movie though, and the Psycho-Pass movie's okay too. But anyway, Psycho-Pass, it's good.
Would you say it's psychological?
I would say it's psychological. Speaking of psychological, Jay, what would be your pick for psychological anime?
Psychological. This one was also very, very easy. Because I think we alluded to this pick in the last episode we did this. We were talking about fantasy. But that was ReZero for me.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
The whole idea of like taking the isekai trope, presenting you with like a potential self-insert off the hop, and then like torturing him almost, and basically saying like, no, isekai is not something you want. You don't want to be isekai'd. Is such an interesting idea. And I mean, you can look at like the different like aspects of torture as like, like that's very horrific, blah blah blah. But like, the thing that interests me most about ReZero is like how these events affect Subaru and how his character develops. And just having recommended this show to someone in the past and seeing their view on Subaru evolve over the course of their watching experience, like it's such an interesting show, such an interesting idea. And
I think the beauty with ReZero as a psychological, honestly, and horror anime is that like it hits you with both. You get the body horror type stuff where it's like the gore and all that. But then it also gives you the horror of like, I have to endlessly repeat these loops, endlessly watching people I love get hurt if based on my actions and stuff like that.
And like that loneliness of not being able to tell anyone.
That cuts for sure.
You may have just reminded me of an anime that like gave me those like dreadful feelings. Yeah. I forgot how like in that second season, and I don't want to like spoil anything, but the whole like bunny thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember when that happened and it was just, or even the first season where he like comes back and he's carrying somebody, you know, and
doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out. And it's like, oh my,
and like how that goes into the ED.
Crushing.
Because like I think I know what you're talking about, but
like the dread aspect is like palpable in it's a tough one to rewatch, honestly.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
It's psychological is interesting because it just means it makes you think, right? So like psychological horror is definitely psychological, and
for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Again, like sci-fi and horror, they just worked well together. Yeah,
for sure.
But Mike, do you have one for us to think about?
I most certainly do.
Very good.
And let me tell you, gentlemen, my anime that I've picked as a psychological anime, the greatest psychological anime in my opinion, is one that makes you take a chip and eat it. It's Death Note. It's a classic, another Madhouse anime to make this list. The reason I put this here is so I just said I think it's the best psychological anime of all time.
Actually, and I don't think it sucks.
I don't think it's. I'm scrolling through the list of psychological anime here on AniList, and I don't think it's the best anime on this list. But I think for a psychological anime, this show takes place. Like, if you watch this show without the inner monologue of Elle and Kira, you just be watching two characters sitting there in silence, staring at each other for most of the show. You know, it's
love those psychological.
I love those edits so much.
Yeah, it's so psychological. Everything in this show is like a mental battle between these two twisted geniuses. And I think that's, for me, what I'm going to go for my psychological stuff. It definitely has like the action. It has the horror stuff. It has like cool vibes. And it has a little bit of everything. But primarily, the fundamental thing about Death Note is it's very heady and psychological. Even down to like Kira's motivation. And like, if I just ask you guys, was Kira right? You could argue
no black
both
and white
ways.
Answer.
There's no black and white answer for anything in that show. Cole says he's right, but like
Cole's never seen Death Note.
That's true.
I know.
Cole's never seen.
I know
or read.
though.
Yeah,
I know though.
But like,
Cole, who is Kira?
Kira is God. He's the god of the new world.
Exactly.
Death
Note,
right.
Great anime. Definitely recommend it. I need to rewatch it because I'm curious how it holds up in this day and age a little bit, because it is old now. It is getting it's getting a little creaky.
It's weird
in its
that
joints.
It's weird that you can consider Death Note a retro anime nowadays.
It's like 20 years old, man.
I mean, it's like when Mike, it's like when we listen to like classic rock stations now, and they're playing like American Idiot from when we were kids.
Yeah, they're playing like Blink-182.
Yeah. No, I'm not that old yet.
Yeah. But Death Note, I think it's super psychological, just because really, Cole, what's yours?
And
sorry, Jay.
Just sorry. One final thought. Like, Oba and Obata kind of like wrote, like set the standard for that battle of wits kind of style. That like you see a lot. Yeah. So like, if anything, like you have to give Death Note credit for that.
Yeah, similar to how I gave Gundam my Mecha award, basically, because it sort of is kind of like one of the granddaddies of this genre a little bit.
I mean, mine's older than it, but
I'm sure it is.
Who's counting?
Let her rip. Right? Let her rip, bud.
I was initially going to go, actually, we talked about it a little bit. I was initially going to go with Steins Gate. But I ended up going with something else because I ended up going with Serial Experiments Lane, because it's so psychological. You don't know what's real. Like, you watch this show and you don't know what's just happening in Lane's mind and what's actually happening in the real world. I wouldn't call it the most fast-paced anime. It's kind of the anime, to me, it's kind of the anime equivalent of like 2001 Space Opera, where it's slow and maybe boring, but you need to watch it. Just
great pitch. It's boring.
Yeah.
But you need to experience it, you know? Like, there's so much there's so much here that I've need heard to.
That it's one of those ones that like kind of tells the future a little bit. It kind of similar to your what was the other one you picked there?
It's semi-prophetic in the sense that like it was made, like the anime itself was made in 1998, and it was able to tell like how far we would come in like the internet age, about how important the internet would become in everybody's life.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I watched it. I don't even think they call it the internet. I think they have like
I don't. The internet wasn't a thing. I don't think when this came out.
Well, it was a thing, but they called it something else. But
yeah,
like Google didn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Was it called the web?
The World Wide Web.
You could tell me the answer, and I probably wouldn't remember.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
It's been a very, very long time since I watched it.
Go off.
13 episodes. But yeah, it's worth the watch regardless of how boring I say it is, maybe. Because if you watch an episode and you sit there and think about it, you'll get a lot out of it. There's a lot of meat on them bones.
I think the fact that it's from 1998 and we're still talking about it and it's still regarded well, probably just is the best pitch you could probably do for it.
Yeah, 80% on Annie list.
I was basically going to say what Mike said. Like, I mean, the fact, like, it's worth the watch based on the notoriety alone.
Just to see what it's all about. Yeah.
Also, there's a freaky alien in it, which freaked me out.
Love freaky aliens. Love a freaky alien. I also love when you like pull up an old anime and you look at the studio that did it, and it's like, oh, I've never heard of them. Oh, it's because this one went extinct in 2002.
They're gone.
They're gone.
What's the studio called?
Studio Triangle Staff.
Triangle Staff. R.I.P.
That's how it used to be, though. Like they would just make anime for a while and then just fold.
They were done. Yeah,
they were just done.
Let's
last one. Yeah.
Last round here, Jay. We've got Slice of Life.
Slice of Life. So I kind of approached Slice of Life the way I approached Action, where like I wanted to recommend a show that kind of puts Slice of Life in the forefront rather than being a show that also has Slice of Life in
Which is kind of tough because generally Slice of Life is the kind of the secondary thing for a lot of shows.
Yeah, lots of things are this and Slice of Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have like a different definition of Slice of Life. Like some people just say like it's a part of a person's life. Whereas like I've heard arguments where like anything that shows something that could be done in real life as a slice of life. So like a martial arts show is a slice of life.
It's very vague.
A sports show is a slice of life.
So like I'm looking here and you've got Slam Dunk, Given, and Spy Family as slice of life. Yeah. And it's like those are very different anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of went the route of like a portion of someone's life.
Okay.
And the show that I put is Tanaka-kun is Always Listless.
Okay.
Which is a show I don't think a lot of people talk about, but like I really enjoyed this show. It's pretty much just like a show about a guy who like doesn't really do much, but like the entertainment is how people interact with him because of how listless he is. And like you could say, well, then it's a comedy, but like it more feels like seeing this guy's life and the people interacting around him and what comes of that. And it's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun.
Okay. Apparently I watched this show.
Yeah, when I was doing research for this episode, I was like, Cole, watch this? What?
And apparently I gave it a 7.5, which is pretty good. It's coming back to me a little bit. I remember this being like just a nice, chill show, which is what you look for in a slice of life, I would say. You don't really want like drama, too much drama. The most drama you want in a slice of life is like, are they going to get together? And then it becomes a romance show, which...
Yeah.
I think it depends.
Which often
like
go together.
It depends if you're looking for the Iyashikei vibes or you're looking for something more dramatic. Because like Fruits Basket is a slice of life objective.
This one's definitely Iyashikei.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, cute boys doing cute things. Very good.
Not often you see that tag. That's a rare one. Jay got a rare tag on this one.
Yeah, good job.
But also, it's a good, cute show with a lot of good characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seems like it.
I did like this show. Yeah.
7.5 out of 10.
7.5. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
That's a good rating.
That's a good score. Yeah. That's a good score.
Yeah, give me a break.
Studio Silver Link.
I'd give Mike a 7.5.
Oh, that's very generous. I wouldn't go that high.
You haven't even seen it.
I know.
Mike?
No,
I've seen Mike.
Me? Yeah, I've seen me. I see me all the time.
I thought you were saying like I wouldn't be that generous about the show, and I was like, you haven't even seen it.
Oh no, I was talking about Cole's assessment of me.
Oh,
yeah. But I would talk about a show that I have seen as my slice of life. I went with Miss Kobayashi's Drade.
Drade.
I
love that show. Dreidel.
Dragon Maid. We're running long. My brain's turning to mush as we speak. Miss Kobayashi's Dreidel. The thing that for me, I kind of took a similar approach as Jay did, but Jay went more specific. He said, I want a slice of life that covers one person's story. Whereas I went with the approach of, I want a slice of life that shows many different slices of life that all feel relatable and kind of like believable. And what's more relatable and believable than a bunch of freaky dragons learning to exist in the human society and to learn the true pains and joys that come with it?
Nothing. Nothing's more relatable than that.
Exactly. And that's what Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is. It's like you get the main character, Kobayashi herself. We're not going to mess this up this time, Cole.
Nope.
Kobayashi is the main character with the red hair and the glasses, not the not the main dragon.
Best girl. Kobayashi, best girl.
Oh, sorry. Cole said Jujutsu Kaisen, not Gojo. Never mind.
No, Kobayashi's better than Toru.
I like Toru. I like every character in this, though, to be honest with you. And that's part of what I think makes for a good slice of life is all the characters are likable and interesting enough to like that you care about what's happening with them. And like we go like Kana's daily life is great. All the little bits with Kana going to school and making friends, that her little annoying friend there. You get Elma working at the office and just wanted to eat snacks. Elma too. Elma's good. Yeah. You get Quetzalcoatl or whatever, or Ilulu, and just her questionable relationship.
Yeah. That one's a little
not in the show. We'll just skip over that one. But then you get even
staying in.
Yeah, even the little boy that she's fascinated with, he's got like an interesting story because he's like trying to deal with coming from like this illustrious mage family, and he's just like, I'm just a little boy. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have to live up to this pressure. And then you got the dudes who just want to play their games, and it's just everybody in the show it's a great slice of many lives, and I love it. It's great.
No, I'd say it's a good pick. I thoroughly enjoy Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Very good show.
I get why people don't like it though. There's definitely reasons why it would turn people off. But that's
I think at the same time though, Mike, like the slice of life genre as a whole turns people off.
Yeah. But it's a very broad genre. So like it's hard to just say I don't like slice of life, because then you don't like
at the same time, like you said, Fruits Basket is a slice of life, but I don't think you'd recommend it as a slice of life story. Right. Like you'd recommend it more as a drama or a romance or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of shows that kind of got shafted by our way we've approached this, because they fall into many categories, but they're maybe not the most of any of them. Like say Mob Psycho, for example.
Yeah.
You know,
well, slice of life, especially, like it's pretty tough to find a show that's like specifically slice of life.
Right.
They're always slice of life / romance.
It's usually some romance / spice of life or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Cool. Finish us off.
My turn. I'm going to go with a slice of life / music anime. Only because when I watched K-On! Initially, I got the sense like it just made me miss high school and like the friendships you make in high school and hanging out with your friends in high school and having common interests with your friends. You know, like I was in a band in high school, so I identified a lot with K-On! And I don't necessarily remember the playing music aspect of being in a band. I remember more the just hanging out.
That's really what it's about, man.
No, I mean, like
it's
Mike,
you hanging out and being friends.
I think that's the case for most extracurriculars. Is
for sure. Mike's being like that
the other people in it.
Mike's laughing because like he was in the band as well, but like realistically,
you're correct, you're right.
Yeah, think back, like you know, we played music and it was fun, but like I liked going out and like going to like a restaurant or having lunch with you guys, and that's more memorable to me than the actual music aspect of it. And that's why I love K-On!, because they focus on the slice of life as opposed to the music.
Okay. I think it does a lot of the both too, right? Like you
of course. Yeah, of course. There is lots of music in K-On!, but like the heavy lifting, like one of my favorite episodes of K-On! Is them going to like a music festival. There's music to it, but like ultimately they're just hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you look at their band name, it's After School Tea Time, which is pretty much what their club is. Like they're just having tea after school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what a good
and
show.
Sometimes writing music.
Yeah. And I mean, like going back to our high school band analogy here, Cole, like realistically, like we were never going far as a band. We never really intended to go far. It was really just a way to hang out and do something together.
Yeah.
Really?
It was
like
just
this
fun.
podcast.
Yeah. Or like this podcast.
Yeah. Except this makes me want to pull my hair out, but
well, don't do that. You'll remove all your follicles. You'll go bald.
Cole, you're the what's the word I'm looking for? You're the face that attracts all the people. We can't have.
Yeah. I don't think that's true.
You're chasing them away. You got the hair that attracts all them old ladies.
Yeah, there we go. That's true. That's true. So I guess that's all of the shows that we're recommending for everything ever. And we've only got one more part of this that we need to do.
That's right. And
so part 3 will be coming up.
Yes. Before we get to that, please comment your answers to these 6 different genres and tell us what yours are. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. We want to hear from
also
you.
go if you haven't seen any of the shows we listed today, go watch them.
Yeah. They're all good. They're all good.
I don't think we have a single miss on this list today. So
I don't think so. I don't think so. Especially mine. They're all very good.
Yeah. Especially.
Let me just quickly tease our reviews that are coming up. Next week, by the way, we're going to be revealing our listener's choice winner. So stick around for that. But we also next week are reviewing Laid Back Camp. So make sure that you watch that. Our manga review coming up is Ogami Tsumiki to Kinichijou. I did it. Thank you.
Good job.
I
was going to say he did this to himself, but
I was going to say like Cole picked the hardest name that he has to say for the next couple of weeks.
Did it.
It doesn't have an English name yet.
Well, no, the Kinichijou would just be like weird life. The problem is the Ogami Tsumiki. That's her name, so I can't translate that part. I did do this to myself.
Tsumiki's
so yeah, next week anyway. Laid Back Camp next week, first season.
Laid Back Camp.
Go watch some.
I'm honestly surprised you didn't put Laid Back Camp as your slice of life.
I thought it was going to get there.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like K-On! Is more impactful to me. But whatever. We're done.
Fair.
We're done. We're done discussing.
We're done. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Now I've got to do my wrap up here.
Okay, do your spiel.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of AniPro. If you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend about us. It helps the show out. If you really like us, please consider supporting us on Patreon like these lovely people. Mr. Family Guy 36, Elijah Wood, Brain Dead B-Dog. Cole needs to watch Haikyuu or Canada is doomed. That's a name of somebody.
That's Mexi's new name. I like that the patrons are starting to change their names to make Cole say ridiculous things.
Every week.
Yeah. Anyway, Peach, Frama, Kratos, Just Juzz, Mogmog, Freeren's Feet, and Antonio Bustos. Thank you all for supporting us. By supporting us on Patreon, you get access to all sorts of perks, and it really helps out the show.
You're all gentlemen and scholars.
You're all gentlemen, scholars, and ladies.
Yes. And if you're listening to this
who are also
as an early episode on Friday, thank you. And happy Friday.
And happy Friday. Yeah, we made it. We made it through another week.
And if you're not, thank you. And happy Sunday.
Thank you for listening. We're let's get this bread tomorrow, everybody. We're also on social media at AniProPod, and please join our Discord community to keep up with us and other listeners. Links to everything is in the description or at our website, AniProPod.com. Mike, it is my week to throw to you. What do we say? What do we say now?
You say to me, Mike, say those lovely words that get us out of this podcast and into our beds. Release us from our misery and joy and suffering and the edging that I am doing of just, Jay's just loving this. Now I'm just teasing the end of this episode and not coming to a conclusion yet.
Yeah.
But as we say at the end of every week of this podcast, known formally as the Anime Protagonist Podcast, and now we go by
colloquially as
AniPro. Not officially, if you look at Spotify, we're still the Anime Protagonist Podcast, but our logo says AniPro. Very confusing. Confusing. We're somewhere in between.
Where does the trademark lie?
Very confusing. Very strange.
But trust me, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here safe and sound very shortly. But first, I just need to have a few little moments here to really think about before we go to our beds and back to our families and our PlayStation consoles and stuff. Just hug a loved one. Buy them a grilled cheese sandwich.
I'm going to buy you a grilled cheese sandwich, Michael.
Put some bacon on it, though, at least. Because nothing says love like bacon.
No, it's going to be
it's going to be white bread, a Kraft's single, and then another slice of white bread.
And as we say at the end of every episode of AniPro,
burnt.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely black.
It's going to be charred. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.